Hello, welcome to Three Crows Runes. My name is Jen. Let's do some rune readings. Today we are doing... Okay, the readings we're doing today are Fall in Love with What Protects You. And so we have 4 deer because of the Algi's rune, which is the moose, otherwise known as the elk, otherwise known as the moose, which is about protection and support. And so we have 4 deer, 4 different kinds of deer, although 2 of them are probably the same species, more or less. Maybe not, though. Anyway, so you're going to feel into these deer, and one of them is going to have a message for you about how you can connect with and fall in love with what supports you and what protects you. So we have the doe, we have the stag, we have the reindeer, and we have the moose, otherwise known as the elk, otherwise known as the moose. So, feel into the deer. You know, I should have put algaes in the middle, but I didn't think of it. And anyway, let's see if we can do that, actually. So it's funny because the 4 deer that I have here, all but one of them are girls. Yes, I know you see 2 pairs of antlers, but the one with the antlers that's the reindeer is a girl, because female reindeer are the only deer. I just dropped a rune on the floor. Oh, that looks really nice. Okay, so we're going to keep that. They're the only deer that grow antlers if they're female deer. And also the moose and the reindeer are not called stags and does, but cows and bulls. I mean, bulls and cows, which is neat too. Anyway, enough about all that. One of these deer will have a message for you, and to make it even more fun, we are going to be using the Forgotten English deck, because that's always fun, and the Black Walnut runes, which are the runes that, you know, like Tacitus, when he was looking at the people using runes for divination, he said that it has to be a fruit or nut-bearing tree. Well, this is my nut-bearing tree. Wood that I have runes of, so I finally have that. But anyway, the other ones work just as well, to be honest. I've done this with torn up pieces of paper, so it doesn't matter. The runes will work. Okay, but enough of that. If you're still here, I'm putting feel into the deer. One of these is going to have a reading for you about falling in love with what protects you, and I will put the timestamps in the description for the 4 readings, and I will see you at the readings. Bye. Hello to those of you who chose the doe for this reading, and the truck going by outside. So it's that cusp between it being really warm in the day and really cold at night, and sometimes really cold in the day. And so they've turned the radiators on here, and so it's really hot. But at least we're not freezing, but it's kind of hot, especially in the day. Anyway, all good. So we have the window open. But anyway, on we go. So you've chosen the doe, a doe, a deer, a female deer, unless it's a moose or a reindeer. So let's move the doe over here. I don't know what these little black bits are. Let's get rid of those. Okay. Various things. So let's start with a card from the Forgotten English deck and see what sort of flavor we're going to get for this reading about falling in love with what protects you. Because if we love what protects us, then we will take care of what protects us, and then what protects us will protect us more. La la la. Don't do this to a person. Like, don't force a person that you love to protect you because you love them, and then maybe they don't. Anyway, on we go. Let's get a card. What is our card for this? Flitterwochen. That's a great word to say. So let's see what it means. So it's an Old English equivalent of today's honeymoon, roughly meaning fleeting weeks. In Chaucer's time, flitte meant to flee or pass away, as the initial passion of love often does. First used around 1500, honeymoon referred to the waxing and waning of the moon, but not, at least originally, to a period of 1 month. Because honey was once considered an aphrodisiac, it was consumed in the form of honey wine. In AD 453, Attila the Hun reportedly died of drinking too much of this liquor during his Flitterwochen. Okay, so the word is honeymoon. So I'm going to read this as, this is something that I think originally you did really, really love this thing that is protecting you right now, but I think it sort of just got worn in, and maybe you aren't feeling or showing it the love that you ought to for something that is giving you all this protection. So let's see how you can reconnect with it and fall back in love with this and restore your state of Flitterwochen with it. So once again, I'm using the Black Walnut runes, which are literally a nut tree. So we got runes of the wood of a nut tree, just as Tacitus said that we should be using. I'm going to lay down the whole reading. They're narrow, but they're long. So I can fit the whole reading, but it's going to be a stretch up and down. That's okay. Dee. Nice one. If I was ending it there, I would be happy to end it there, but I'm actually not. I hope we have a nice ending after that. We definitely will, like, no matter what rune it is. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so your central issue right now is we have Fehu. Fehu's the rune of wealth and worth. Basically, what I'm seeing this as is you're just sort of getting on with the practical things. Things that have to do with keeping your life, feeling of worth, and just basically getting on with things. Maybe you're focusing on money. Maybe you're focusing on just basically keeping yourself wealthy and basically keeping you and your surroundings of worth. Leading up to this, you've had a very strong lead up. You've been very strong, grounded, and healthy, so to speak, as far as all of this goes. And this is probably because of what this thing is that you had a Flitterwochen with, but that maybe this has waned a little bit for you. Like maybe it's not a matter that you don't love it, but it's like you're focusing on things that you're sort of forgetting about the Flitterwochen item thingy. So because really your focus is on very practical matters at this point, like just, your day to day, but also you're just like practical, got to get on with, get the things, got to get if you need money, just get the money happening, the worth and the wealth and all of that. It's cattle. So it's the wealth that you tend. So you've got a lot that you're taking care of. And this distracts you from basically giving honor to the thing that is keeping you protected sometimes. What is going to help you is we have Raidho. Raidho's the rune of the journey. This has to do with it's your path. It's your path through life. It's your journey, your life's journey. I am also going to bring in the Younger Futhark meaning as mentioned in the poem, which is basically, it's nice for the rider, but toil for the horse. So maybe what it is that is supporting and protecting you is sort of carrying the burden of all of this while you go forward and do all this. And, while you're having a really good time and getting on with things and doing things and having an easy time of it, whatever this is bearing the burdens. So it's a good idea to just pay attention to that, like basically have a look at that and just basically note and be appreciative of what is doing the carrying in this journey. So that's one of the things is just appreciating that on this journey that you are supported. What isn't going to help is we have Isa. Isa is the rune of ice. I'm sort of seeing this as just being cold, like coldly just dealing. I mean, this might not be a person. This might be a person in your life, but it might also be just, a system or just the way things are that is supporting you, that you used to madly love, and now you're sort of just getting on with things and perhaps taking it for granted. But anyway, the Isa is ice, and this has to do with stillness, standstill. So you're just basically, keeping things cold, just as you go forward, because you need it sort of to be there and as it is. But it's almost like, taking it for granted is like, okay, I don't want to think about it, but I'm using it anyway. What is going to help you with that is basically just show it the gratitude. Just basically become aware and be grateful. Once you do that, whether you do that or not, your next step is happiness. At some point, you are going to become aware of this, and you're going to feel really, really happy about things. We have Vunyo, which is the joy rune. So you are feeling very happy about the way things are, and the more gratitude is in that, then the better. What is going to help you is just to basically, we have Kaunas reverse. Kaunas is the torch, also known as also the fire. So something starts small like an ember and goes into a blaze. In this case, it's reverse. So it's something that goes from a blaze, like a supernova, into a laser. in that it's next to the whole thing about the journey and being aware of this and being aware of what is carrying you in this, what is supporting you. Bring your focus into that, and that's going to help you be even happier. That's actually, you're giving focus to what is supporting you, and with that gratitude, and that's going to help you continue to be even more happy about that and sort of revive a bit of the Flitterwochen feeling. What isn't going to help is just carrying on with things, like just driving forward without the gratitude thing. Not that Tyr is ever not grateful, however, because Tyr is a very good king indeed. However, it's Tivas. Tivas is the rune of tears. The warrior god is like driving forward. It's in the lower line of what isn't helping. So I'm seeing that more like we're just going to carry on without giving a thought to what is supporting you. So that's not going to help. Bring yourself back up to where you are appreciating the support that you're getting, what is protecting you, what is supporting you. Revive, because you're already happy at this stage because things are going really well. Revive some of that love and gratitude for your Flitterwochen stage, which with this thing that is carrying you, and that will increase your happiness. And what this is going to lead you to is a better whole view of what is going on in your life, and you can appreciate it more. This is basically, it's Dagas, it's the breaking of the day, it's the illumination of your entire field of vision, and it is once you acknowledge all the aspects of things, including giving gratitude to what is supporting you, then you're going to have a better picture of everything that is bringing the happiness to your life and that is bringing fulfillment to your life and illumination and all that good stuff. So that, doe people, is your reading for falling in love with the thing that supports you or protects you. I haven't decided yet. We're going to see what I'm going to put on the picture. Anyway, if I can fit it. So there it is. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, stag people. Welcome to your reading. Let's move the stag over here, and we're going to start with a card from the Forgotten English deck to get an idea of the flavor of this reading about falling in love with what protects you or what supports you. So shuffling the cards. These are always really fun, and I really enjoy this deck. And I think we've done almost all the cards now, which is good. Okay, so let's see what we need to know about this. We have fancy monger, which is another really cool word. So let's see what fancy monger is about. Person, male or female, who in the 17th and 18th centuries used legardemain, clever tricks to deceive others, often for financial gain. One of the fancy monger's theatrics was called Wolf in the Breast, a highly imaginative ploy used by vagrant English women with considerable acting talent to solicit donations from the gullible. In this macabre ruse, the woman attempted to convince passersby that a small wolf was gnawing her breast from the inside. What do I make of that? Well, that's so funny. Fancy monger. So fancy monger is more like it's just to break that down. It's like you're selling an imaginative idea. This person's doing it. These historical people are doing it in order to get what's the word I'm looking for? Not necessarily legal donations for things, but I think what I'm going to take from this, for the purposes of this reading, is what supports you is perhaps your ability to sort of reframe reality in a way that supports you, but also just the ability to visualize new scenarios and the ability to basically work with what you have and create your reality in such a way that it's going to help you and support you. So that's something really fun. So I think the fun is really what's going to come into it with this. But fancy monger, just as far as like you're putting forth a new idea that hasn't been around before, and it might be really fanciful and whimsical, but it can help you out of tough scrapes, and that's what this is going to be about. It's kind of like Bjarkan, or I think it's Bjarkan in the Younger Futhark, where it's one of the reads on it is a lie that buys you luck. So I suppose it's like fake it till you make it kind of thing. Like maybe you don't feel fully confident to do the thing that you're hoping to do, but if you can play it, just play it like, the Fool in the Fool card, then you can make things happen. You can play it enough that you can believe it and the people around you can believe it, and hey, there it is. So I'm not recommending doing scams like the fancy mongers in the story, however, and it's not likely that a small wolf is gnawing on your breast from the inside, but it's certainly possible in a dream. And what would that mean? Well, it would depend on the person, but if this was my dream and I dreamed of a small wolf gnawing on my breast from the inside, I might see that as where I was ravenous for perhaps like to nurture someone. But that doesn't really scan with what the fancy mongers were doing. Anyway, this is not about dream interpretation. This is about doing rune readings and about getting you a message for how you can fall in love with what supports you and what protects you. So let's have a look at that. I'm going to put the selenite right on this leaf because it keeps getting in the way. Sorry, leaf. Okay. Your central issue, stag and fancy monger people, is we have 30s as reversed. So you are sometimes faced with a very tough challenge where things are so difficult that it seems like an impossible challenge. Leading up to this, you are very good at working with what you have to control what you can. We have Ingvaz, which is Ing's rune. This has to do with active creation. So this has to do very much with what the whole fancy monger thing is, where you are putting forth something that could be seen as fanciful to the universe, where the universe is like, yeah, okay, sure, why not? Let's go with that. And it actually will protect and support you. This is so unique. But anyway, here you are, you've hit a thorn wall, and it's kind of like, okay, what do I do? Well, just tap into your source energy and do what you know you do best, which is what supports you, which is this exciting, fanciful way of seeing the world and putting ideas forth into the world that will bring support and protection in for you. So we have Sovilo, which is the sun. This has to do with source energy. It also has to do with, warmth and also protection and also, giving life, and also mostly I'm seeing this as the source energy thing. So tap into whatever it is that always gives you energy no matter when you do it. The sort of thing when you're like, okay, well, I could do this all day. But the things that always give you energy. So if it's like nature or music or creating something or cooking or just anything that actually... anything, and you know what this is for you, and whatever it is for you, this is what you're going to tap into. Whatever it is that no matter when you do it is always going to bring that for you. And that's what's going to help you get over any thorn wall that you encounter. And given the word, I'm going to say, let yourself dream as big as possible and start to let that carry you through, because once you take those steps, then things are going to start to come in for you. Even if it's just like more happiness. What isn't going to help is this is not the time to worry about that you maybe don't have the inner strength that you would like. This is not the time to give up or give in. We have Uruz, which is the wild ox. This has to do with strength and health, and also stubbornness to a certain extent. In the lower line, it's reversed in the lower line. So it says don't give up, don't just, give up and lie down and let your hooves up in a situation like this. You know what works and you know what works for you. No matter how stressful it is to be facing a thorn wall, it's like that episode of Fraggle Rock where they go to the trash heap and the trash heap's like, when things aren't going well, just do the stuff you've always done before that worked. So that's basically what it is. So don't give up, don't give in. Don't worry that you won't have the strength that you need. Just basically turn to the things that have reliably worked for you and see if that helps. At the very least, it will give you the energy and air that you need to help move forward to continue to tackle this challenge. And honestly, your next step is Kaunas, which is the expansion rune. It's fire, it's the torch, so you will be able to see past this at this point. And also be able to open up and expand. And you'll probably be able to open up and expand on whatever this is that you've put forth that is this creative way that you're going to be looking at things that is going to help you through this challenge. What is going to help you in that stage, once you start to open up again and once you start to expand your view, is we have Nauthi's reversed. Nauthi's is the rune of need. It always has to do with tend your needs, but when it's reversed, it has to do with drop everything and tend your needs. So there will be at least one thing at that point where you're like, okay, the first thing I'm going to take care of is this because it's an emergency. Once I put this in place, then it'll be like the linchpin for everything else, that it'll be able to like go in. And is that the right word? I'm not sure. But anyway, it'll be the critical thing that you're going to get in place that is going to make everything else work. So definitely do that. That's going to help you with that. What isn't going to help is we have Ansu's. Ansu's is the rune of communication and manifestation. You may doubt your ability to manifest in this situation. It's an upright rune in the lower line, so it's fear about that thing. So here you are doing it. You've done it before. It's worked for you. It's worked for you very well. It's protected and supported you. This is not the time to doubt it. Just like it wasn't the time to give up, it is not the time to doubt your ability to be creative and to manifest things in the world. So bring yourself back up to, now that I've had a look at things, I know exactly the thing that needs to be fixed immediately, and I'm going to do that. So that's what you're going to do next. And that's going to help you as you expand. And what this is going to lead you to is great success and harvest and abundance. That we have Yira, which is the harvest rune. This has to do with the harvest. You're reaping the fruits of your labors in this point. Everything you work towards to get to this point, you will be able to harvest at this point. And it will be really good and nourishing and abundant and all that. So once again, as in your fancy monger way, you are manifesting in the world in a really, really good way that is going to help you all the time, and that you will fall in love with that again through this process. So there you go. That is your reading, stag people, for fall in love with what supports you. I wish you all the best for this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. I forgot to put the reindeer down. Hello, reindeer people. Here's your reading. So let's move the reindeer over here. All of you who chose the reindeer, let's get the reindeer over here. The reindeer is a different company of animal figures than the other three, so that's why it looks so huge next to them. The other ones are to scale with each other. They do that. But then this one, the other ones are, oh my gosh, this is Schleich also. Is this Schleich? I thought these were all Schleich. This is Safari. Are the other ones Safari? Okay, well anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about with the reindeer. Okay, well anyway, it's big. So that, okay, I think the problem is that the moose is a different company from the other deer. On we go with the reading. So reindeer people, this is your reading. So I'm going to turn the reindeer, so it's going to be here to observe the reading, and we're going to start with a card about how to fall in love with what supports you, or re-fall in love with what supports you again. So I'm going to shuffle these cards, and we're going to see. There is like so much traffic outside today, and we have the window open because it's hot. So I'm just going to shuffle, and we're going to see what it is that you need to know, reindeer people, about how to fall in love with what supports you. So we have Apple Squire. Apple Squire. Cool. Let's see what that means. In the 16th and 17th centuries, a term for a prostitute's bully or Applejohn who kept sentinel at taverns for her. I can't believe this has come up. Anyway, Eve's relationship with the apple may have influenced and precipitated this expression. Another likely possibility is the expression derives from costermongers, apple peddlers who worked the streets of London and sometimes acted as liaisons for harlots and their clients. The related expression, apple wife, was probably a euphemism for bod. So how to interpret this for the purposes of this reading? This is basically somebody who keeps an eye on things that are people that are doing their job, basically, to boil it right the heck down. So there is somebody or something that protects you while you do what you need to do to make a living that maybe you haven't been appreciating as much, and maybe I'm not saying like go ahead and fall in love with your Apple Squire, but as far as somebody or something that protects you while you do what you do to keep you safe, that's who or what you need to reconnect with and have gratitude for and fall in love with again. So let's get some runes down about this. We're using the Black Walnut runes. I'm going to lay down the entire reading. It does fit. They are narrow, but it kind of also doesn't fit because they are tall. That's okay. I say that next time we'll know better, but I just never remember when I use these runes that they're just really, really big. That's okay. It's all good. And one more. Okay, reindeer apple square people. So your central issue here is Laguz. Laguz is the rune of emotion, intuition, and heart and flow. It is water. It is all the good watery stuff. So I'm seeing this as right now you're just in the flow. You're doing what you do, and you're kind of taking for granted that you are protected while you do what you do, which maybe you're starting to think you oughtn't to be taking for granted because of something that recently happened that was kind of unpleasant and that you have gotten through. But you're like, if it wasn't for whatever's protecting you now, well, maybe you weren't at that point and now you are. Or maybe you were and things didn't end up as bad as they could have been, and what you learned was about yourself. So we have Pertho reversed. Pertho is the rune of surprises and fate. This has to do with a surprise that comes up that was always there because it was in the box, but when it got revealed, you're like, oh my gosh. But it is reversed on the path line. So I'm seeing this as either a negative surprise that happened or something where you have learned something about yourself that was a surprise. Either way, you're coming into moving through the flow now with that in mind. So maybe now you're starting to feel more appreciative and more with gratitude towards whoever or whatever it is in your life that is acting as apple square to protect you while you do what you do while you're going with the flow in your day or your job. What is going to help you here is we have Gabo. Gabo's the rune of the gift. The gift is always an exchange. I'm trying to get this so that I can see more of the runes. The gift is always an exchange. This could also have to do with a one-on-one relationship. So maybe if it is a who that is doing this for you, then to have that communication with them and to show them more appreciation and a little bit more exchange for what they are giving you. But as far as it being just you and maybe something that is in place that you are appreciating and that is acting as apple square for you, you will probably want to, it has to do with, it's a gift. A gift was always an exchange. You didn't give something without getting something, or you didn't get something without giving something. So it also has to do with agreements, decisions, goals, and plans. So it might be a good idea to set up some sort of plan or agreement with yourself so that you are actually showing appreciation to this that is supporting you and like letting yourself feel this gratitude towards it. And that's what's going to help you move forward because of all of this, that you are being protected and you know this now and you are being very aware and you're keeping it in mind and you're not taking it for granted. What isn't going to help you is going back to when you were not appreciating this. We have Barkana reversed. So I think at this point, what led up to this moment, you may have been taking it for granted that you were protected in this. But now that this thing has happened, this is a new beginning for you. This is something where you're like, man, if it wasn't for that, I would be toast, and not in a good way. So you are right now, you're very appreciative of it, and you're ready to make arrangements so that you are showing that appreciation more readily and more often to whatever is acting as the apple square in your life. What won't help at this point is going back to what you had before. So this was a new beginning, and this is Barkana reversed, which is new beginnings reversed in the lower line. So you don't want to go back to what you had before where you were just taking it for granted, because next time it might not be there if it's not feeling appreciated, if it's a who. Or it might not be there because you're not showing appreciation and gratitude toward and making sure that it is supported and protected itself. So it's all good. And even just if it's for your own completion and sense of wholeness, you want to basically not go back to what it was before. You want to keep that appreciation in your life, because gratitude is very, very, very good for us. So if that starts to tempt you to go back and go, no, you know what? And not only am I going to continue to appreciate this, but I'm going to make it so that I have in my day on my list to appreciate this. So what this is going to lead you to, your next step here, is you are going to have a much more rich life moving forward in the flow. We have Dagaz, which is the rune of the breaking of the day. This is the dawn. And it's the illumination of your entire field of vision. So you're going to have a much more clear picture of the big picture of your life as you move forward. What is going to help you is, because you have a much clearer picture of the big picture in your life as you move forward, what helps is to make sure that you are actively creatively working with what you have. We have Ingvaz, which is the rune of Ing. Ing is another name for Frey. Frey is the fertility god. I usually read this as active creation. And so because you are more aware of what all there is going on, you will be able to use more of what all there is going on. And it's going to make things even better for you. Like, it's just like, it's like you were playing the piano, but you were only using like half the notes before. And now you're like, wow, all these notes that I can use. And that's what's going to help you moving forward. It's going to make things even better for you now that you can see everything. What isn't going to help is we have Nauthiz. Nauthiz is the rune of need. You might worry that there might be something that still isn't being covered, because for a long time, leading up to this point, you didn't realize that all of this was going on where you were this supported. And now you're like, okay, I know all of this now, but what if there's something else that this isn't covering? And this is like a what if game that your brain can play with you to drive you crazy. So if that starts to be the case, you're going to be like, well, no, you know what? I have twice as many things to work with as I did before that are going to keep me supported and protected. So I'm just going to focus on that and work with what I have, because I have a lot now, more than before. And what this is going to lead you to, and this is the second time I've seen this rune in this spot today, we have Yira, which is the rune of the harvest. It's the rune of the harvest and time. So you're going to see a lot more fruits of your labors. You're going to see like immediate results of, now that I'm using everything that I have access to, I'm having more abundance than ever before. I am seeing the results of what I'm doing, and it's going to be a very great time of abundance coming up because of you and your apple square working together, because you have fallen in love with it again and are giving it the appreciation and gratitude that it requires. So there you go. That is your reading, reindeer people, for falling in love with what supports you. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, all of you who chose the moose for this question of falling in love with what supports you. So I'm going to move her over here, and I'm going to shuffle the cards of the Forgotten English deck, and let's see what word comes up that is going to give us the flavor of this reading of the falling in love with what supports you. Okay, drawing the card. And you get Tuniopperty. I have no idea. I can't even take that apart. I have no idea. Let's see what it means. One whimsical version of the many early forms of opportune that are now obsolete. Oh, okay. Others included the adjectives opportunate and opportuneful, the 17th century opportunus, and the relatively recent opportuness. These derivatives shared the common prefix op before, and the root portus denotes a port. At one time, the nearing of the mouth of a harbor was considered a fortuitous time, since the vessel had successfully avoided the many hazards of the sea voyage. Okay, so tuniopperty. Tuniopperty. It's like somebody tried to spell opportunity and just was drunk. So what protects you is your ability to jump at opportunity. It's to be able to recognize when you're in an opportune situation. Not saying that you're an opportunist, but we all are to a certain extent. We are humans. However, what protects you and supports you is your ability to spot these and to jump at them. So let's get some runes down about this, because that's very exciting, and let's see what they have to add about how you can fall in love with this again if you have fallen out of love with it, and how you can reconnect with it and all that good stuff. Okay. Ooh. Because you go on and on and on in life, and you kind of forget, because it's like, it's the sort of thing that you're doing like all the time, but then it's just kind of like you get into the rhythm and rut of the steps of life, and maybe you haven't spotted them because maybe you haven't been looking, and maybe this is something that you could be just coming into the harbor and not even appreciate that. Oh, I hear a cicada. Can you hear the cicada? I don't know if this mic is picking up the cicada. Several years ago, I was out in the garden and in the gardens, the botanical gardens, and I was just about to leave, and a cicada landed on my sleeve, and it was really big, and it wouldn't leave. It didn't leave for like a while, and I was like, well, I guess I have a cicada now. And I took pictures and everything, and so after the second picture, finally it flew away, so I don't have a cicada now, but that was a fortuitous thing. I took it as a fortuitous omen or augury. It was lovely. Anyway, they're cool. They're huge. But anyway, yeah, it wouldn't leave. It just stuck to me. Anyway, your central issue with this issue is we have Ivaz, which is why I was saying maybe you've just gone on and you're just like, the road seems endless and you haven't seen anything, and so you've sort of forgotten that one of the things that really does well for you as far as supporting you is spotting these things. Ivaz is the yew tree. This has to do with patience, slow growth, slow development, step by step. And that's sort of where you're at. It's kind of like a long road and you're in the middle of it. So leading up to this, you were actually very good at using what you have to control what you can, and just like using what you have the opportunity to use. And it was very, very good. And you were able to construct a very good reality around yourself, a very good life and things, and very protected and very actively creative. We have Ingvaz, which is Ing's rune. Ing has to do with Ing is another name for Frey. Frey is the fertility god, and it does have to do with active creation. Is usually how I read it. So that's sort of where you've been at as far as all that goes. But right now you've hit a stretch of just like nothing, just like step by step, like slow pace that you have to be patient with, and maybe you're getting a little impatient with it, but it's sort of just fallen into this rut and rhythm. So that kind of sounds obscene, so I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean it that way, and I think you know. So what is going to help you to reconnect with all of this is to look to your source energy. So we have Sovila, which is the sun. The sun is obviously, gives life and is warmth and light. So good, but it's also source energy. And so these are the things that whenever you connect with them and whenever you do them, A, you feel like I could do this all day, and B, it gives you energy. It restores your energy. So maybe you've been plodding along for a while and you've forgotten how good that feels. So whatever it is in your life that does that for you, to access that, to help spice up your path, but also to wake you up to what really protects you and what really supports you, which is this ability to spot opportunity. And once the light is back on and once your energy is restored, you'll be like, oh, wow, yeah, and that's what keeps me happy and alive, and you'll just fall in love with it all over again. What won't help is a lot of this is because you have a lot of agreements, decisions, plans, and goals. So we have Gabo, which is the rune of the gift. So if your day is like heavily scheduled in general, and you're just like, you just have to keep your nose down and just basically keep up on all of these things, that could keep you from remembering that this is there for you, and you might not be tapping into that energy as much as will make you happier. So that's what would drag you down, if anything drags you down at this stage, although you feel like you've been plodding along, so things are pretty down as it is. So I seem to be pulling this down inadvertently. So what is going to help you at that point, if that starts to be the case, if you realize that's going on, bring yourself back up to what is it that always brings me energy and joy? Like maybe it's listening to music, maybe it's dancing, maybe it's going out to nature, maybe it's, any number of reading a book, watching a show that you love, things that are just like off of the path. I mean, it's still part of your path, but things that are off of the plodding path that restore you. That's what's going to help you wake up to this and remember how good this is. So what your next step is, once you've done that, is we have Fehu reversed. Fehu is the rune of wealth and worth. Reversed, it has to do with inner, especially on the path line. So you are remembering your worth. You're remembering your confidence, your self-esteem. You're remembering your inner worth, basically. It's like, oh yeah, this, and I'm really good at it. And as soon as you do that, what helps is that immediately you're going to start getting results. We have Yira, which is the rune of the harvest, and also time. But I'm seeing this more in the harvest element, because as soon as you realize this, you're going to start looking again, and you're going to be like, wow, that, I can spot these. I know this is something that is going to be really good for me. And you're going to start to pull in the fruits of your labors for that, like right away, as soon as you notice, as soon as you feel better about things. So it's like, okay, that's fantastic. And again, you'll fall in love with this again, and you'll be like, wow, I can't believe I was apart from this. And this protects and supports me so well. What won't help is we have Ansus. So Ansus is the rune of communication and manifestation. I'm going to read this a couple ways. You may be tempted from all this time plotting to sort of try to talk yourself out of, oh yeah, but it's probably not going to do that for me. Or yeah, oh yeah, well, but yeah, it's probably not. I can't be thinking that I'm as special as all that I can spot these things. Maybe it's not as good as I think, and maybe it's like, it's the whole thing. So you might be doing that. You might not trust your communication. It's worries about the communication that you're getting, which is the way the world is communicating to you about these opportunities that you're spotting. But I mean, if that starts to be the case, if you start to doubt that, just bring yourself back up to where, immediately as soon as you noticed, you're starting to get results. So it's like, why would I doubt this? Like, I'm seeing the results right now. I have it in my hand and in my pocket and in my fridge or whatever. All the good stuff that's coming in, I am taking this in because I was there at the right place in the right time, and I am taking on this opportunity because life is abundant and good. So what this is going to lead you to is a greater sense of opening out. Maybe you hadn't been for a while. Maybe you'd been sort of so fixated on the step-by-step of the day-to-day that you forgot that this was a richness that was in your life before, that was bringing happiness and joy and richness to your life before, and just abundance. And maybe you forgot about this, but now that you remember, you're going to open right the heck up to it. You're going to crank the window all the way open and open up the entire aperture on the periscope, and off you will go. We have Kaunaz, which is the rune of the torch. So it's illumination. You're using this to see forward. It's expansion because you're expanding your view, opening out, and that's where we're going to be at. By the end of this spread here, you have remembered your worth, and you are turning your torch on everything in front of you and opening out to it, because you're going to spot those opportunities, and they're going to make you very abundant indeed. So that, Moose people, is your reading for falling in love with the things that support you. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye.